buddies, and welcome back to this masterclass for the beginner in C programming language. It's your guy once again, the Wolf, and today, guys, we are going to learn about multidimensional arrays. And remember, in the previous lesson, we learned about array size, and we did one really live example. So, without much ado, let's get started with these multidimensional arrays. So, welcome once again. Is your guy, the Wolf. Okay, so let's get started. So I'll start off by defining what this multidimensional are. And before that, let me just create a file here. Remember, I'm using cat block. You can use whatever you want, but this is for the legend, just like you and me. So I just create here, click on create new project, and something's really jumping up and down. Okay, let me just there, and then console application, and then I can click go. Okay, from here I'll just click next, then I pick C, and then next, and then I call it mult array, just like that, simple as that. So, and then click next, and then finish. There we go, it's loading, it's creating the project. So as it's creating the project, let's start by defining what by multidimensional array. So you remember in the previous lesson we just learned about arrays, which is also known as the single dimensional arrays, because we had only one array within that single variable array. So this is great, and sometimes you will use a lot while programming in C, especially creating games, 2D games, 3D games, and even data tabulation, something like that. However, if you want to store data as maybe tabular, from like a table which has rows, columns, you need to get familiar with multidimensional arrays. So multidimensional arrays is basically an array of arrays. Like we can say that array within an array, right? You can have so many of them. That's why we call it multidimensional array. Like we have multidimensional universe. You see, so arrays can have a number of dimensions. In this lesson that we're going to do, we will introduce the most common two-dimensional arrays, which is called 2D. So if you're familiar with 2D graphics, 3D graphics, you know this is the path. So two-dimensional array. So a two-dimensional array is also known as a matrix. Remember in a campus or in a high school when we did matrix, and when we used to divide 2 by 2, 3 by 3, or 4 by 4. So a table of rows and columns. So to create a two arrays of integers, we take a look at the following example that I want to do here. So I'll just create this source here. Then there is main. Main is just there. And then from here, just so to create an array here, you just okay, click enter and then write. So I just want to create an array, a two-dimensional array, and of an int type. So I can have strings, but I just need an int type. So matrix, because two-dimensional arrays are called matrix. So if you're familiar with that kind of a mathematics that I've said, you know, it's not really important as of now. So double the bracket here, and we will have two of them. This is two-dimensional array, so I can have the first one here represents what does this represent? It actually represents the rows. So this is the row, so I need 2 rows. And then how many columns do I need? I need like 3 columns, right? So to do this, again, now you have to put in some data. To put in some data, you just have to click this array. Now you have to put your arrays inside this. Okay, so to do this, to put in your data, you just put the curly braces like this, and I need to, because there are two rows, so I need 2 rows inside here, just like that. And then these two rows, now I need column, right? So let me have 3 columns. So the first one, let me just have numbers here. So I'll have 1, 2, 3. And then the second one, I will have, let's say, 4, 6, and even 8, right? Okay, from here now, you have to remember to put this here. Let me just do it. Why did I put this? I don't know why I did this instead of bracket curly braces. So I put some curly braces here, just like that, and then put a semicolon, just like that. So this is already a two-dimensional array. So the first dimension represent the number of rows. So this is the 2 represent the number of rows, while the second, this one here, the second dimension. So this is the first dimension, and this is the second dimension, and you can have the third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension, and infinite dimensions. But we will do with this, and so these two represent. So the values are replaced in the row orders, and they can be visualized maybe in a tabular format. Like you can have row 0 where we will have 1, this 1 here, and then we have 4, and then we have the last one, which is 2. Okay, so this is how we do with matrices. So let's see on how we can access the element of a 2D arrays. So to do this, to access the element of a two-dimensional array, you must specify the index number of both the rows and the column. So this statement here, we want to access the values of the element in the first row, which is 0, and the third column, which is the 2 of the matrix array. So let's do that. So to access this, let me just come down here, just like this, and then use this print function here, and with a format specifier, remember to do that. So format specifier, just put a percentage here, and then d, which is this decimal, and put a comma here, and okay. So so I will just bring my array here, array name, which is matrix. Copy on PC, and then let me just remove all this here. And right, just like that, and then I paste over here. From here now, I just want to print the first. Okay, I just want to print the first index here, and which is, this is the row and the column. So I'll just print the first value in the first row, and the second, yeah, just like that. And then this will actually output which number will be output? This 2 here. Okay, hold on. So guys, what you need to remember here is that arrays indexes start with 0. So the first index, which is start with 0, will put out the first element in that column, and then the second, if we put 1 here in this 0, we will have the second element in this array. So let's just print out and see what we have. So okay, so let me just compile and run it. It's probably taking more than it's expected. Okay, there is an error because I did not put a comma here. Let me just again run it. There is running. You can see on the console down here we have here we have 3. So we have printed 3, and that is it. So if we can go back, that what this means is that this is the first row, right? So the first row, this is the first row, column 0, and then second, so which will be 3, just there like that. So here I just printed in the first row, which is this one here, and this what is represented by 0, and then we have to print the second position, which will actually start from 0, which is now 0, 1, 2. So we will print out 3. That's why we had 3 here. That's why we had 3 there. Again, that's how we do matrices. I hope that you can go back and do small things to do with matrices. You see? Okay, let's see on how we can change elements in a 2D array. So to change the value of an element, we just refer to the index number of the element in each of the dimensions. So for example, let's do one example here that we will have to change the value of an element in the first row, which will be the first row, which will be index 0, and the first column, which will be 0 again. So again, to do that, we just come with these matrices here. So copy this on PC, Control C and V. So take this, and then now here the first. So I wanted to change the first in the first row, which will be 0 here, and then change now the first column. So the first column again would be 0. So I want to change that value. So to change that value, we need to put some, let me just put a number there. I have number 9, right? So I've changed this number here, which is the first column, we use this, and I've made the first row, and then the first column, which will be, which number do you think we will change here? So this will output 9 instead of 1. So you see this number here, this is in the first row, the first column, which will be this. So we will change this to 9. So run it again. So I have to cancel this first of all, and then run it again. So instead of 1, we will have 9 there. Oh, 3. What did I do? I mean, I think I've printed something wrong. Oh, I should have printed 0 here. So change this to 0, and now I run it again. So there we can see we have 9. Again, that is it. So again, let's see how we can loop through a 2D array. So to loop through a multi-dimensional array, you need one loop for each of the array's dimensions. So let's do one example here that we will use to. Let's do this example. So this one we will output all the elements in the matrix array. So we want to output everything, all the numbers that are in that array matrix. Okay, we will normally have to use a for a loop. So I'll create an int here, and I call it I, because it will be a 2-dimensional array, and a j. Even in matrices, this is the values we normally use, I and the j. So I'll put j there. So I have those ints. So let me just create a for loop here. So I will say for I is equals to 0, put a comma, a semicolon, and now I is less than, because we have only 2 arrays, less than 2-dimensional array, and semicolon, and we should increment it, I in increment, so that it can count from 1 to 2, and then now I should have another one here. So that one we will use to count the number of arrays. So the second one we will use them to do what? To print out. So we will have to put another array within a for loop within a for loop, right? Because in arrays we have array within an array, so we must use a for loop within a for loop, right? So let me just j now. J will be equals to 0 and semicolon, and now j is less than, I can say, 3. So the number of columns is 3. This 2 was for the rows, right? And then now I can now increment j increment, just like that. And then now I can print out okay, just like that. And then put this to that. I can do that. Okay, just like that. And now remove. I just have to remove this. Okay, have this, and where is the problem? At the return should. Okay, now it's to remove this here. And cut this. It should be inside. Yeah. So every time it runs, it checks the number of arrays, columns, and the second time it checks the number of rows and columns. So here in the matrices, I should print now I and j, just like that, and then I should return 0, so this one is not there. Hope that is no problem anywhere. Let me just run and check it. So we check. So it's running down here. You can see on the console there. Boom! We have all the elements that were in that array. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and as you can see here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it's where is 8? It should be. I don't know whether there is 8 there. So that is it, guys. So let's see on how 3-dimensionals works. So you can also declare array with more than 2-dimensional, and this is how we do it. Okay, so let's do this 3D dimension here now. 3-dimensional array. So to have a 3-dimensional array is so easy. So let's again have these numbers of ours here. We have the main method, right? In this main method, now let's have a 3 array with 2 blocks, each with 4 rows and maybe 3 columns. So we have this int, then matrices, and now let's change this to 2 what? 2, and then I have 4 here. Now this is a 3D dimension, and we can have now 3 there. So again, what we will do, let's again have numbers in here: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 8, and then should have one more here. Should have a comma here, comma, then I should have this will be wrong. 10, 11, let's have 13, and again let's have another one. This is gonna be quite long, but let me just copy it first. There we go. So let me just create another one here, comma. It should be a comma there, and again hold a minute. Let me arrange this a little bit so that it can be okay. So this here should drop it down, and then this should be the last one down here. Just paste like this. should have the second one here. The second one here, which will be now in this I should have how many of them? This is really almost complex because of typing and timing, but yeah, just like that. I should have how many of them? 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, Control Z. Okay, let me just have some 14, 15, 16. Put a comma here. Copy this. Paste here. This is 17. Don't worry about this, but I can post the video, and then once I'm done I can come back. So but these have just arranged like this, so you can see it's there are 2 rows here, and we have how many? 4 what? You can see 4 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have 3 dimensional values, so you can see 13, 14, 15, 1, 2, 3. So that is it. Again, now let me just do the logic for printing all elements using a 3 nested loop. So a 3 nested loop is really almost, it's like you can even have 4 nested loops, but that's really, I think we can do, if we can create a code that can create that series of, yeah, whatever. So let me just do that again for a loop. Let me just okay, now I won't use this. I think I should declare this again. No, what did I do? Okay, let me just remove all of these first. Oh, let me just declare them here. Again, let me just add k here and comma k, right? So since I have this now, I can, okay, the first one is I is equal to 0, I is less than 2, which is okay, increment. And then the second, no, this one I can comment this out, print and print function. I can say that block percentage d in a new line, comma there, put a comma there, and I plus 1, and yeah, that's the first one here. That's what we will do. Okay, the second for a loop will be j, and then now this will be less than 4, the number of columns, and jj plus again I should print something here. Again, next. So again I should print this matrix here. So the matrix, now this will be I, j, and k, I and jk, like that, and now this will be k. And finally, now I should come down here, and in here I should print new line, print function. I should print a new line, so it can be arranged just like that. A new line, to print a new line, just backslash and again I copy this and so control C on PC and paste it down here. Wow, this was really long example, so then now finally I should have the return. Cut this and then put them outside this, but I think I should add one more. Oh, should add this. So let me just run this and see what I have and none of this. So I should put this here. Oh, why are we doing this? Just let me just run this and see what I have gotten it right, and maybe if there is error I can check it later. Building, oh, there was an error here, so let me just check the errors because I think it's a typing error, and then I'll come back. Print all the values that are inside this array, 3dim array. So I'll just run this, and I think I've already run this, and it's really running background because I replaced the RAM and this today is so slow. So I'll show you the result, and that is it. So goodbye.